found this really interesting clip from yesterday's CourtTV segment on body language of Brian Kohberger from 2 incidents where he was stopped by the police. And I really wanted to go over it together with you. I've only seen bits and pieces of this, but I wanted to go over with you and actually analyze it and discuss it together. So let's go. And just a reminder before we dive in, if you enjoy my style of covering true crime, for more of the latest updates and also interesting and cool tidbits like this, like body language, so that we can learn and educate ourselves and advocate more for eradication and education for victims, then make sure to subscribe to my channel. Okay, so let's watch this together.
Joining us in Alexandria, Virginia, body language expert, New York Times bestselling author of You Can't Lie to Me, that is Janine Driver. Janine, great to see you.
Nice to see you, Benny.
All right, so we're going to do the before. We've got a couple clips before, then one clip after. This, again, is the accused killer. And again, one of the stories that and prosecutors are saying, he was in the area many times, sort of inferring that they believe he was, planning this thing out a little bit. So let's take a look first. This is a month before, stopped by the Washington State University police.
Just wanted to say that I get really cringed out with things, and I have not even been able to watch the full body cam of what we're about to watch because I'm so cringed by him. So this is really like I'm actually watching this for the first time, the complete thing for the first time.
So would you explain that to me a little bit further? So in Pennsylvania, when you're stuck in their intersection, you have to make the left. So what would the appropriate thing for me to have done?
You're not supposed to block an intersection like that in Washington. So just by you blocking the intersection, that's technically a ticketable violation. And then then you're running a red light. So it's another ticketable offense. So you're not supposed to proceed into the intersection until you can go. Because a lot of people do what you just did, right? Is like you're sitting in the intersection waiting, then turns, and then you're blocking. So
yeah, there was a little bit of confusion with speeding because someone had stopped. I wasn't sure what they were doing, and then they put on their light to turn. Mm-hmm. So I thought that maybe they were letting me go through.
Oh.
Did you see that?
No. Mm-mm.
So like right before I made the turn, there was someone who made a right.
Yeah.
They didn't have their signal on, so I wasn't sure if they were just waiting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I would just advise just don't enter the intersection until you can go, so you don't get stuck. Let's see.
But in that situation, the best thing to do then would be back up. Not.
I don't know if there's a best thing to do in that situation because you're either going to back up into somebody or you're going to run a red light. So, or you're going to be sitting in an intersection. Yeah. There's not really a great option there.
Yeah, I was just slightly into the crosswalk. So, where I'm from Pennsylvania, we actually don't have like crosswalks.
Oh,
so even if you're kind of slightly, there's a little bit more leeway as well. Like there are a few lines. Like there's one white line and there's another one.
So, okay, I haven't even watched this part. Mansplaining. It's like trying to control the situation.
It's like a certain margins in which you can actually kind of put your vehicle on place your vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I know laws vary state to state, but there is a law in Washington for blocking an intersection like that, proceeding through when you don't when you're just stalling. I forget the actual verbiage. I can find it for you, but it's like stalling, blocking an intersection.
Yeah. I'm just curious about the law. I don't mean to.
Oh no, yeah, I can find it for you. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 1 second.
So this happened 10/14, so October 14th at 4:35 p.m.
Okay, Janine, what did you see? What did you hear?
Now, to the everyday person, you might see this and say, hey, this is normal. This is how I would respond, possibly trying to build rapport to get out of a ticket and ask a lot of questions. There's a couple things here that we see in this clip, and I think we're going to carry one of them over to the next clip. One is a tongue protrusion, and I think we'll talk about it again in the next clip. He stuck his tongue out briefly. We'll talk about that. Just hang tight. But before that, when he talks about someone had stopped in front of him, he does this little micro expression, Vinny, and you at home, where his upper lip comes up and he flashes his teeth. And this is something we saw Cato Kalin do on the stand, going back old school here with O.J. Simpson, when Marsha Clark was asking questions. Hey, isn't it true that you've got this book deal or there's some type of a deal? You're making money out of this case. And he does this snarl. When the upper lip comes up and we see the teeth like this is a combination between anger and disgust, and that equals scorn. So, and we have this tiny little sneak peek of scorn, which is very intriguing to what's to come a month later. The other thing I'd like to talk about here is his eyes open wide. Look right here. You're seeing the three whites, we call it in law enforcement, the inner part of the eye, the outer part, and underneath. If we look at Vinny's eyes right now, mine, you'll notice you don't see three whites of our eyes. This happens right here when we're under stress. You were just pulled over for a ticket. Makes sense, right? Fear or surprise, it usually indicates something is wrong. Again, pulled over for a ticket, probably scouting out the area here on the college campus. O.J. Simpson, going back to him, he did this in the civil case when he was shown a picture of himself wearing Bruno Megli shoes walking on a football field, when in the criminal case, he said he never owned those ugly shoes. Yet they all of a sudden show, according to him, he called them ugly, and with a swear word that I won't say here. And all of a sudden, the civil case, they're showing him a picture. You see OJ, look at the picture and look up, and you see those three whites. This is, something is wrong. I just got busted. Again, it could make sense for the ticket, but it hangs out. Look at this. This is hanging out the entire conversation, the three whites. He knows there's a problem here and trying to build that rapport to get.
Yeah, also I see him, I don't know if she's going to mention it, but I see him looking away a lot. So almost like trying to think about what to say. And not that it's a 100% direct correlation, but a lot of times when people look away, from they move away from eye contact, it's almost like they're trying to think of what else to say or whatever, which could happen if you're trying to get out of a ticket. But to me, it sounds like a little bit more like lying, or trying to come up with something or grasp for something.
Get out of it.
Okay, Janine, what we're going to do now.
Okay, so just recap. She said something about the way that he kind of sings his tongue out, and it's a little bit of like a snarl with his teeth. And then also the three whites. So the side of the eyes and the bottom of the eyes is denotes a lot of times as like surprise or anxiety, stress, which of course could be related to him getting a ticket, but this wasn't like a big deal ticket, right? It's not like he was, it wasn't a big deal type of a stop.
We're going to go to the after one now. This is a video of a traffic stop after the murders, and interested to see if you notice any difference in the way he is, in what you see and what you hear. So let's watch.
Hello, how you doing? How y'all doing today? Good. Take a look at your driver's license real quick if I could. See, he's right up on that van, man. You're right up on the back end of that van. Pulled you over for tailgating. Is this your car? Okay, cool. Where are you headed?
Well, we come from WSU, and
what's WSU?
That is watching.
So we're okay. I'm having a hard time hearing you because of the traffic. So you're coming from Washington State University, and you're going where?
We're going to be going to Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're trying to bunch of people driving for hours.
Hours, days.
To drive.
Yeah. Okay. So what did you say about some SWAT team thing? Or
Yeah, there was a man shooting,
Where? Interesting.
Well, it's horrifying because it's supposed to be better those.
So y'all work at the university here?
Actually,
Oh,
PhD.
okay. Okay. Yeah, I hadn't heard about that incident just yesterday, or
No, this is find out how many half a dollar the state out there. Well, not the decision, they did shoot somebody.
Let's see.
And then
You didn't know about that. Wait,
Well,
Interesting. Wow. Okay. So do me a favor, don't follow too close, okay? All right. Thank you.
Also really awkward to watch again. Oh,
Okay, I still can't get over the fact that when he's asked where you're going, we're going to get some Thai food. You've got, I think he's got Washington State plates at this point. He's from Pennsylvania and he's in Indiana. Okay, that aside, Janine, what'd you see? What'd you hear?
All right, let's start with what I heard this time. Basically, these LY words, be very careful of those. Basically, we don't give raises the first year. That indicates sometimes you make an exception and you do give raises. I want to be the exception. I call these the wiggle words, usually, typically, normally. And he says basically, this is what we did. That indicates to me this LY particular here, this adverb, that there's something else he was doing. He uses the word actually 3 times. Actually, Vinny compares 2 different things. Let me do a quick test with you, Vinny. Did you buy the red car or the blue truck? Actually, I bought the red car. What is the other thing I'm comparing it to? Did you buy the red car or the blue truck?
Blue car. There's 2 choices.
Right. So this actually, is comparing 2 things. You buy the red car, the blue truck. I bought the red car. Actually, I bought the red car as opposed to the blue truck. When people throw in this actually where it doesn't belong, it's indicating he was really someplace else. Actually, what we were just doing was this. No, that's not what you were doing because we don't know. He's comparing it to something we don't know. If I was in law enforcement still, I would teach this officer to ask as opposed to what, because he threw in that actually. Not only did he do it once, Vinny, and you at home, he said it 3 times. Normally, we can think there's an LY there. Normally, we can figure out what it is. Did you have fun at the party? Actually, I had a good time. Maybe they thought they weren't going to have a good time. But here, this is very suspicious. Now let's talk about body language. He's not breathing. Look at him.
yeah. And just back to that LY, that is some fascinating stuff. I didn't know that. Basically, I did that. I was like, I don't know you, right? It definitely seems suspicious.
It's as if no air is coming into him. I'm even watching his throat. And this happens a lot with deception and high stress. People forget to breathe. We do see the 3 white of the eyes right here. And he does this move that I did see earlier and didn't get to talk about, which is this tongue protrusion. This tongue out, this jutting of the tongue. This is someone's got caught and they made a mistake or getting away with something or deep concentration. If you've ever threaded a needle, imagine threading a needle. You've got the eye of the needle in front of you. You've got the thread. You stick out your tongue. So we've got this deep concentration, or he thinks he's getting away with something, or he just got caught. A lot happening right here. The fact he's not even breathing and he's so stiff. Now, looking away, I throw that away because he's on a busy road here. The everyday person is going to look to make sure that they're safe. So that behavior I'm going to ignore. But this lack of breathing, the wrinkled in the forehead right here is high stress. We didn't even see it in the first time, but we're seeing it here. And then, of course, this tongue protrusion. And the big one for me, the smoking gun is the word actually. I wrote it down and did my little 3 tick marks. This is huge. And these LY words, if you go back to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, she loved the LY word, right? So be careful of listening to people closely, what they're saying. If someone says, typically we can't give raises in the first year, you might be able to get yourself a raise.
All right. Yes. So I actually learned a lot from that. So that actually was so interesting to learn some little catchphrases like that. So actually, basically, normally, typically, so the LY words, when there's comparison, or like in the case of actually, when there's comparison, it makes sense. But outside of that context, if there's no context, then it can be suspicious. The eyes, the whites of the eyes, that was a big one, high stress situations, the LY words, and then also him not breathing, that just shows like that high stress, either he thought that he's going to get away with something or he thinks that he just got busted. So that I thought was so fascinating. What did you think? Did you pick up on anything else? Obviously, again, like the whole interaction with his dad and like him looking at his dad like, shut the F up. That's always fascinating. So anyway, what did you think? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, hit the thumbs up. And I appreciate if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, that you join the empowering family. We are empowering warriors working on getting justice for victims, advocacy, and supporting survivors. If you like that style of true crime, join the fam. And I hope that you also hit the bell for notifications. Let's keep it empowering, stay safe, stay thriving, and have a fabulous rest of your day. Bye for now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button for notifications. Thank you.